Subscribing to The Observer on YouTube couldn't be easier, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that. First, navigate to www.youtube.com/theobservernj. Once you get there, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button, click the down arrow and then all. And that's it. You're subscribed, and now anytime The Observer is live, you will be notified. Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you from the newsroom of The Observer and theobserver.com. And today I am happy to be joined by Sidney J. Ferreira. You know that name. Sidney has run for mayor before in the past. He ran in 2021 and 2023. And he has decided to run as a Republican this year against Mayor Carol Jean Doyle for the mayoralty. And he joins us here today. Sid, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining us.
How are you, Kevin? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So you're going to announce your candidates today, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, first I have to announce my candidacy first.
Okay.
But yes, I'll be running again this year. I am running in the primary. We don't have, as far as I know, any other primary competition. So we'll be advancing into the general, and we'll be going up against Mayor Carol Jean Doyle's ticket. With me along the way, I am very proud to announce that we have some great candidates this time. We have, in the first ward, we have Muhammad Walla. Everyone knows him by the name of Smiley. Literally, I was knocking on doors for him, to grab signatures, and everyone knows Smiley. Everyone loves Smiley because, like his name implies, he smiles. He loves to smile all the time. He's just a great guy. He helps out with the community. He does things that people don't even know. He keeps his prices low for a reason. I asked him about that. I said, how can you do this in this environment, in this economic environment? And he said, I do it because my customers, they can't, I have a certain customer base, and, thank God that I'm okay and that my family is okay and we're provided for. And so, that's how I give back to the community. Sometimes he even gives out free meals. And so he's a very big part of the first ward of especially, that area around the pizzeria. People really love him. So I'm very happy and very proud that he decided to run with us.
And he owns a pizza business. Is that right?
Yes, he does. It was formerly a Domino's chain, but now he took over and he went independent years ago. It's called Bella Ray's, right on Kearny Avenue.
Okay.
So then in the second ward, we have Margarita Fernandez. She's also an excellent candidate. She actually rallied the residents of Sanford, Ann Street, Ogden, and Radley Street. To really become a force in our town. They attend pretty much every meeting. They made certain demands of the council because, around there's, they're on the border of Harrison, and, Harrison residents tend to park in that area. And so she rallied the community. She got about 65 signatures. And finally, in the last council meeting, something was done about it. And Harrison residents are no longer able to park in that area. I forget when the date of when it actually starts. Hasn't started yet. It was just passed. But it is a test run now for the next 6 months to figure out where else, to see if this works and possibly maybe expand it into other neighborhoods. Which is something that I think is great, something that, we had discussed before, especially around the borders of Harrison. And even, on the other side of town as well, the northern end of town that borders North Arlington, there are some problem areas there as well that I'd like to see it expand possibly into those areas, especially around Schuyler Court and areas of the third ward as well, where where parking gets a little tight sometimes because you have people from other towns parking there overnight. So we have to help our residents in that area. And Margarita was a big, and her husband and several residents as well. It wasn't just them. There's a core group of residents there, and Margarita is one of the leaders. So I'm very happy that she decided to join our ticket as well. And the third ward, you have someone who ran last year, came close. And who is George Santos, well known in the community as well. He owns 4 laundromats, I believe, in town, owns some outside of town as well with his brother. And he owns, a couple of apartment buildings as well. So he's someone that's deep rooted in the community. He's lived here many years. His children have gone through the school system as well, and he's a proud Kearneyite through and through. He also is someone who donates to several organizations. People don't even know the stuff that he does.
Mhm.
They probably don't even know that he is, even though we spoke about it. I think it bears, we should continue to mention it, that he does help out the Kearney Public Uniform Exchange Program.
Right.
Provides uniforms, used uniforms, from that pass it down from family to family, and he's the one who launders those uniforms, and he does it for free. So it's something that I think that he doesn't like the credit. He doesn't like to take credit for
You're
things like
right.
that. But it's something that we have to discuss, and we have to. People need to know that these are people that are running because they care about the community, and they've shown it in the past. And so it's something that I believe needs to be highlighted. And he's also an excellent candidate, and I'm very proud that he decided to run again and wasn't discouraged from last year's loss. And then in the fourth ward, we have Anthony Morales, who I've actually knew and kind of from an old job. When I worked at Wachovia, we were both financial specialists who worked in different branches. So we went to some events together, and we've reconnected again. He moved into town. He wanted to. He had moved. He had always grown up in Hudson County. He moved to Union for a couple of years, and then now he's back. He's been back for a few years now in Hudson County. Decided to make Kearney his home because he's Peruvian, and he really wanted to. He wanted to get in touch with his roots again. And he is so glad that he moved here. He's fallen in love with the town, and in the few years he's been here. And he also expressed interest that he wanted to run, that he wants to make a difference. And so I am very happy and proud to have Anthony as well on the ticket in my ward. So
In your ward, exactly. If you're just joining us, Sidney Ferreira is running for mayor, and he's here with us today. I have to ask you an obvious question. This is going to be your fourth campaign in a couple of years. What is driving you to do this? How do you have the energy to do this? And why do you want to do this after having some close calls in the last couple of years? Do you feel like you're on the cusp? Is that where you are right now? But why do you want to do this again?
Well, Kevin, I think that since 2021, we may have lost, but we've had victories along the way. We've forced conversations. I think it's been an excellent experience for our town. Just being in a campaign, even though we lost, we brought up issues that needed to be discussed. We forced the hand of the council sometimes to do things that maybe wouldn't have gotten done, or things that had been ignored for so many years. So just being in the race is great for the town of Kearney. Like I keep saying, being outside of it and getting stuff done. Imagine what we could do once we're in there. I have candidates around me that are really motivated to make a change, and that's what we need. Our town has so much potential. I see so much potential in it, and that's what drives me. And Kevin, you only lose when you give up. I haven't given up yet, and I said that I wouldn't give up, and I said that I would always, for as long as people would be supporting me and us, that I would be involved. And I think it's good for Kearney. I don't think that people should run unopposed. I think that people should always be, our leaders should always be on their toes, and always be held accountable for their actions and for their votes. And so that's another reason why I continue to do this. And now we have a team, and we have a committee, and it's small baby steps, and that's my driving force. I want to make a difference in this community.
I can't remember the last time there were 4 candidates plus a candidate for mayor in both parties in Kearney. It's probably been 20 years, if not longer than that. But with that said, as a member of the Republican Party, you're a little bit behind the 8 ball because the town has always swung Democratic over the last 25 years, right? Now, that was changed in 2024 when President Trump won Kearney by almost 300 votes. However, in the same token, George Santos lost that election. So where are you going to reconcile that this might be the year that maybe the council catches up with the national election? Is that what you're thinking?
I think it's you may have touched on it. You may have not. We unfortunately we didn't inherit the organization that has been the Democratic Party here for over 30 years.
Right.
I know a lot of those people. They're great people, but I think that we have been building. We will continue to build. We have a chair election coming up in June. Our current chair has expressed the interest that he is going to step down. So we will be a more once we get a new chairperson, we will be a more organized party. We already have several committee seats filled, and we will have even more after the election. After the election of our chair, we will be more organized, and I promise that people will hear more about us. Listen, we came from nothing, and look where we are. You know, to what you just said, the fact that we have 5 candidates to fill all 5 slates is a testament to the hard work that we've been doing. We have increased memberships. When I first started, we have about double, if not more now. I haven't checked in the last couple of months, but we have about double the registration that we did just 4 years ago. So, and we continue to do that. And that's just not in our town, that's statewide as well. So I think that, we do have a shot. But I don't want to make this about a Republican and Democratic thing. I think that what we have to focus on the fact that, Democrats will be voting for me. They've expressed as much. We will have independent, unaffiliated voters voting for me, and we will have Republicans voting for us. And so that's important because I want to put, I don't care about the D and the R. I want to put K first. I want to put Kearny first. That's my agenda. Everything that we do, from going through the budget, from helping out our parking woes, to everything that we decide to trying to close down this Keegan, which, we were told 4 years ago that it was going to be capped. And from what I hear, nothing has been done on it. We haven't heard anything from it. This is something that our current mayor had stated during our debate, that this was her biggest mistake that she made in her political career. And you would think that that would be her main focus, or one of her main focuses as mayor. And we haven't heard a thing about it. She's been in there, like you said, for 17 months, and we haven't heard anything about it. So
you're going back to when she first approved the plans that never came to fruition with the New Jersey Meadowlands Commission, though. So we're going back to 2005 here on that one, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, she admitted that she made a mistake, which is fine. We all make mistakes. I think it's a big mistake. I don't know how anyone would believe that having a landfill in our backyard would be a good thing for the town. But, we all make mistakes. She admitted to it. But you would think that once you admit to a mistake, that you try to fix it. And we haven't heard anything. She's now involved with the county again. And you would think that she would use some of that clout to fix this issue, this pressing issue that we have. Listen, Kevin, my mom never smoked a cigarette in her life. She died from lung cancer.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I can't say that it was the Keegan. I can't say that. But the fumes that were coming from there, and all the other cancer cases that I know of right now, I just heard of 2 more people today before going on with you. One of them is the wife of a committee member, of one of our committee members. And so you hear these, and one of them is actually a committee member. You constantly hear these stories, especially in our town, and you can't help but to wonder where all of this is. Where is it emanating from? Where is it coming from? It could be the Keegan. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be our water supply. It could be anything. But these are things that we have to focus on, and we have to fix these problems that were made, these mistakes that were made in the past.
Let's stick to the Keegan landfill, because that's always been a big issue in this town. How will Sidney Ferreira and anybody who you bring on the council with you deal with the state in trying to get this maybe expedited a little bit quicker? Dealing with the Sports and Exposition Authority is one of the biggest challenges I ever found. What's Sidney Ferreira going to do to try to get this all squared away if, in fact, you win in November?
Well, we have to talk to people. We have to negotiate with people. Is that even happening? Are we even having conversations with the people that are in charge of making these decisions, of helping us to cap the Keegan and to close the Keegan? Because from what I'm hearing, it's still not closed. There are reports that there's still dumping going on at the Keegan. So it needs to be closed and it needs to be capped, and we have to, we have to speak to the people that are the decision makers, and I will get people involved to do that. That we have to work on it. It doesn't look like it's been worked on. So that's my answer. It's a very simple answer, Kevin, but we have to do some work. We have to do some legwork on it, and we have to, have these tough conversations with the people that are involved with, the Meadowlands Commission, with the state of New Jersey. Hopefully, we will have hopefully we'll have a Republican governor that we can work with, and a Republican administration that will listen to us. I've been an active member now in the Republican Party. As you know, I went to the convention. I was a delegate there, and so I'd like to say that I do have some connections with some people, at the state level and even at the county level, and so those are the people that I will work with, and I will try to do everything that I can to try to finally shut this down. It's been a plague on our community. And it continues to be a plague. And even though we were promised 4 years ago that it would have been done with, it's still here. It's still a present danger.
If you're just joining us, Sidney Ferreira is with us today, and he, of course, is a candidate for the town of Kearny's mayoralty. Every 4 years, there's an election, even though it seems like recently there's been like 1,000 elections, but he's with us today. And I got to ask you a quick question about some of the people who you've chosen to be on your slate. Anybody who's running for candidate, tell me a little bit about their backgrounds and involvement in any of the things that are going on in the town of Kearny that would give them that up. I know sometimes you don't think that a community like being involved with clubs and organizations is always an important thing. So if that's the road you're going to take, that's fine. But what are some of the things that the people you're running with are involved in the town of Kearny?
So, well, like I said, we'll start with the first ward. Smiley has been an active member of his community. He has been an active member in his, in his. He's an active member of the community in the sense that he helps his community. These are people that you don't hear much from.
Right.
These are people because they don't like to advertise what they do, and that's everyone that you see on our slate. They do help the community. First, I was going to start with the first word. Sorry.
Sure, that's fine.
All different directions.
Okay.
Smiley is well known in his community. Like I said, he provides free meals. He helps people. He keeps his prices down. So that, I think, is someone who is important. Someone who is loved in the community for that reason. People know him for a reason. It's not just because he constantly has a smile on his face and he's a very cordial person and personable person. It's also because of what he does, and he doesn't make much fanfare of it. Even when I asked him, like I said before, when I asked him, how do you keep prices down, and he was very humble about it, and he said, I have enough. Why, what I have is enough. It provides for me, for my family, and so why am I going to beat people up over the head? And plus, people in the area, they can't afford to pay these higher prices, and they're paying higher prices everywhere else. Why do I need to follow suit? As long as I have what I have, I'm okay. And I think that's excellent. You have someone in the second ward, Margarita, who has been a fighter for her community. I'm telling you, she's at those meetings. She is very vocal. And she fights for people. And you know what? Something about her, Kevin, it first started with the floods. So in 2021, some of the residents reached out. I went over there and it started to get attention because I started posting it everywhere. And so our leaders, to their credit, former Mayor Santana, at the time he was a councilman, and Councilman Konopka went there. They worked with the residents. They worked to help alleviate them of the flooding issues. I mean, they were getting sewage, some of them, in their homes, so they addressed those issues, to their credit, did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
And then part came around, and then she started, and the few people that have been involved in the core leadership there, I would say leadership of the community, they organized these people to ask for parking, to ask for something so this is someone who organized. And you know what? This is where I was going to before. She doesn't even need to do this. She has a driveway. She has a 2-car driveway. She doesn't need to be involved to help her neighbors. But she does it because she cares about her community, and she cares about Kearny. And so and she's already brought this to other neighborhoods. She's trying now to organize Duke Street and Tappan Street and all these other streets. That's what she's doing. She's demonstrating her leadership. And so she's someone else that maybe you haven't heard of if you haven't gone to the meetings, but these are people that are doing things behind the scenes for all of us. So, next up is George Santos in the third ward. I've said about him before. He does so many things. He donates to the PBA, to the FMBA, to all these different organizations, and he doesn't make a big deal about it. It's no fanfare and no, he doesn't post it, on Facebook and tell people that he gives out checks and does all these things. He just does it. He does it because it's the right thing to do, because he cares about the community, because he cares about the town. So that's George. Anthony as well. Anthony is someone who, as well, gives to many charities, many organizations. Someone that does it, doesn't really advertise it, but someone who has always been someone who's very generous. Even when we were at Wachovia, I remember going to certain charity events and donating to certain charities. We always did it as a team, and so he's someone that is also all about that as well, and someone that is looking to, like I said, expand himself into the proving community. He's already reached out to different organizations, so someone that wants to be involved as well. So these are all people that do care about our community and that have deep roots in our community, and I think that that they deserve a shot. They've done so much already. They want to do more. And I believe that people should at least, the public should at least give them a shot and take a look at them, and hopefully they'll agree with what I have to say.
Yeah. Of the topics we've talked about parking. We talked about the landfill. What's one of the biggest other issues that you're going to deal with when you become mayor if you win the election in November? Is there one particular thing that you would probably be like, day one, Sidney Ferreira, this is what I want to work on?
Well, I think day one, what we have to work on is the two major issues are parking, and we have to, like I said, in 2021, we have to look at the finances. We have to see exactly where we're spending the money, and we have to see if there are better alternatives for that money, and invest some of that money in some of our infrastructure. As you know, for many years, 30, 40 years, there were streets here that weren't paved, in town. And the mayor will probably be quick to say that she wasn't there, that she's mentioned that a couple of times, but she was on the council. She was council president. She was also chair of the finance committee. So that we have to work on parking, our infrastructure, beautifying our town. Kearny Avenue, I'm sad to say, because I live here and I love this town and I don't like to bash it, but Kearny Avenue is not what it once was, especially, when Mayor Santos first addressed Kearny Avenue and fixed it up. And I mean, it looks tired and dingy and old. The lampposts are, the paint is peeling off of them. It doesn't look appealing, and it doesn't look appealing for businesses that want to come in, higher scale businesses, or people talk about that there's always the same kind of businesses opening up on Kearny Avenue. But maybe if we spruced it up a little bit and made it look a little bit better, maybe we would be able to attract some more businesses to it. I'm not saying that the ones that are there now aren't great. I'm not saying that at all. I think all businesses are great. I support all businesses, but I think that maybe we could attract even more different types of businesses, is what I'm trying to say as well. So I think that needs to be addressed as well. So like I said, parking. I think that the finances, which lead into taxes, those are probably the two biggest issues. And then we have to address the physical condition of our town, which I think definitely needs some addressing, from the infrastructure to the I would like to call it a beautification program of the town for our main business corridor. Start on the main business corridors, clean it up a little bit, because there's litter and trash in many places around town. Sad to say, I don't like to say these things about the town where I live in, Kevin, but it's the truth. I can't overlook it. There is also, pockets of increased crime, that I would like to address as well.
Well, where are you seeing that? Where are you seeing that?
I'm saying it from even, along the avenue. There are businesses, especially women-owned businesses, that won't open up their doors, that only work by appointment. They keep their doors shut.
You're talking about like salons or what
Yes,
kind of?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, two incidences, two different businesses that do not keep their doors open during the day, or try to limit their walk-ins. They work strictly off appointments because they're afraid. They're afraid of the loitering. They're afraid of, hey, it's perception, and their perception is reality, and they perceive that crime, is up. And so we
Have
have
they
to listen to those concerns.
have they addressed that with the chief, Scott McPhee, about their concerns?
They have not, but and we'll work. The police department does an excellent job. There's been they've come to my house a couple of times. They've come to other businesses that I know of, and they've always done an excellent job. And I'm sure that we can work together to find a solution when it comes to that. I will work with anyone, so I'm not worried about that. It will be addressed, and I'm not saying it's big crimes, but it's just small petty things
Nuisance,
sometimes.
right.
But it just makes for an unsafe feeling in the community. Sometimes people feel unsafe. For example, Kevin, it's a great example. People have to park, and they have to park 2-3 blocks away, and they have to walk at night. People don't feel safe.
Right.
They have to walk sometimes with their kid at night. And during the wintertime, it was getting dark pretty early, and so even when you come home from work, you're coming home at 5-6 o'clock at night. It's already dark. And it could be scary for people, So again, perception is reality. Their perception is that it feels unsafe, and that's what we want to work on. We want to work on assuring people that our streets are safe, or they could be safer. So,
If you're just sorry, Sid. If you're just joining us, Sid Ferreira is here with us today. And on our way out here, at the end of most interviews, I like to throw the floor open to whoever I'm speaking with to address anything else that I haven't addressed with you. So the floor is now yours.
So Kevin, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to everyone who listened. I think it's always great when we have discussions with the media. Media is basically the fourth branch of government, and so I think it's very important for someone who aspires to be a leader, or someone who is a leader, to involve the media at all costs and to be transparent and to talk to people. So I think that that's very important, and I've said that to you privately as well. If elected mayor, I will absolutely always be transparent with you. We will have several conversations weekly if you want, whatever you want.
Yep.
But I also wanted to address something else. Going to the meetings lately, there have been plenty of times where I've wanted to speak. I've declined from speaking because I feel like the environment is just it's bordering on I don't even know
Toxic.
Toxic. It's embarrassing at times. I speak to leaders in other nearby communities, and it is embarrassing to the way that the meetings are conducted. The way that people speak to one another, the way that certain members of the council and the mayor speak to residents sometimes, and the snide remarks that they make. I feel like that needs to change, and it will change. And you asked me this last time, how would I work with people on the council, being that they're a different party? I don't look at them as a different party. I look at them as a human being. When I see them in person, when I saw them, just recently at the parade, we all gathered around and we had a great discussion. It was like we were having beers together.
Yeah.
That's what we just have to be human. We have to take the politics out of it. I can't stand the constant politics 24/7. And it seems to come from just one person, and it's our leader. And that's what I see. And that's what other people on the council see, whether they're on her side or not, privately. That's what they tell me. It's emanating from one source, and it needs to stop. We need to make it toxic, attacking one another, going online and putting nasty stuff on there to, just recently it was attacking my dad and his property, and, sending people to my brother's business to attack his business that everyone loves, by the way. He has a ton of Kearny customers. He knows more Kearny people than I do because of his business.
Tell everybody where his business is while you're at it.
You want me to plug it?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
New Body Collision on Columbia Avenue, Columbia and Chestnut Streets. So he's been there. He was he started working when he was 17, in I believe it was 17 or 18, but while he was in high school, and he bought it about 10, 12 years, maybe more ago.
Okay.
And everyone loves my brother. So he's the unofficial Mayor of Kearny, maybe, I don't know, but anyway. So
And you wait, but
that's
let me stop you for a second. So you're telling me that people have said go to your brother's business and do something? Is that what's happening?
no, 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 no. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there have been instances, incidences. I don't want to talk about it because we're looking at possible options there.
Okay.
I'll just, but yeah. So targeted, let's say, we'll use that word. Um, but anyway,
Mm,
that's not something that
okay.
it's
No, no,
not
that's fine.
something I wanted to go. It's just something that I mentioned, and maybe I shouldn't have. But I want to take this toxicity out. Like I said, I get along with everyone. I say hi to everyone. We have conversations. We talk. And so that's what you have to do. And no matter if they were against you before or if they're against you now, there comes a point in time, especially after an election, where you have to put all that pettiness aside and you have to work together. And that's what I intend to do. That's what I know all of my council candidates will do. Our candidates will do. We will all work with whoever is elected. If there's all five of us are elected, then that's great. We'll work with the other four. If there's three or four of us that are elected, there was one of us that gets elected, it doesn't matter. We'll work with everyone because these are people that care about the community. They don't care about the D and the R, about Democrat or Republican or anything else. We care about K. We want to put K first. We want to put K-Town, Kearny first. That's what we want to do. That's what all these candidates are. They're Kearny first candidates. We are Kearny first ticket. And our slogan is, let's move Kearny forward together. And that means everyone. It doesn't just mean Republicans. It's everyone. It's unaffiliated. It's Democrats. It's the other council members. It's the mayor. When I win, if she wants to be involved, after I'm elected, then I will work with her as well. I will put my whatever differences we have aside, because that's who I am. That's the way I was brought up. And that's the way that I have always gotten things done. We've always built teams maybe with people that haven't agreed with me at first, but I win them over. And that's what we have to do.
What George King to be the new business administrator?
I comment on that right now, Kevin.
You should though, because if you would be dealing with somebody like that right off the bat if you win.
Right. Maybe can we do this at a different time?
Okay. Okay.
I don't. I personally have never had an issue with Chief King. I don't necessarily know the qualifications that he may have for the position, so I don't want to speak out of turn or without knowing everything about it. So I would say I don't know if we've looked at other candidates. He could be an excellent choice. He did do a good job with the police department. It is a different type of job. But again, I don't want there to be any bad blood, especially if I have to, if I'm elected and I want to work with.
Yeah, because you would have to. That's your primary goal.
And that's fine.
Duty.
And I would. And like I said, Kevin, I'll work with anyone. I'm not the type of person I want to do. Look, if I work with people and we get things done, it makes me look good.
Yes.
Why would I want to jeopardize that just because I don't like someone or whatever the petty nonsense is? You know what I mean? I want to work with people because I want to put Kearny first and I want to get things done. That's the way I've always operated. You know this from personal experience.
Yes.
In the beginning, we didn't have a great relationship. I'd like to say that, pretty good friends now. We speak once in a while. And there's many other people that were against me in 2021, even people that were against me in 2023, that now I speak to them and I have, a pretty good relationship with them because that's who I am. I like to win people over because I want to be able to work with them. I put my ego aside and I put my job first, whatever job it may be. And in this case, it would be to make Kearny a better place for all of us.
Sidney Ferreira, I don't envy you one bit for going through this for another time. You're going to have your hands full for the next couple of months, without a doubt. And right. I appreciate you taking the time. You mentioned it while you were speaking. I've always appreciated your transparency with me and with the media as a whole. And I cannot thank you enough for spending time with us today. And I'm sure we're going to do this more than just this one time before we get to November. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon.